Hello and welcome to another edition of Droppin Baums with me, your host, Corey Baumeister. As always, with the lovely people here at TCGplayer.com. So today I'm bringing you Abzan Explore, a deck that really focuses on the interaction between Wild Growth Walker and Path of Discovery. Two cards that when you can combine forces along with some other creatures can just be the most demoralizing cards to have to stare across from you at the opposite side of the table. Round one, we had a match against Mono Blue Tempo. We played against Naya Dinosaurs round two, and then we played Green-White Tokens round three. I got all the links below hand if you want to fast forward to any of the matches. I got the deck tech after, and then the link to my article at TCGplayer.com, where I have a short sideboard guide with a little write-up. Stay tuned. Alright, and welcome to the games. Let's do ourselves some exploring. I would like to go first, very much so. Okay. This is the bread and butter of what the deck does. Cast a Walker, and then start Dora the Exploring. Alright, so we're going to play our Shockland first. Pretty trivial. Alright. I swear we're not a Golgari deck. We do much cooler things. Mono Blue. Ooh, we got Harpooners for this match. That card's great. And this card's great. Alright, this card... So the one weakness I have with Mono Blue, I played this... Well, I played the Thief of Sanity deck a couple weeks ago. And here's my big concern with it. Like, if you get ahead, you're winning. You know, if you get ahead on board and you can strap up a Curious Obsession, or you could have a Thief, or, get a Tempest, the 0-4 in play, you know, you're gonna win. But if this deck is trying to race creatures... It's so hard, and Wild Growth Walker is one card that, like, not only is it always getting bigger, so you have to, like, eat that damage every turn, but it gains you an absurd amount of life. I kind of anticipate this. I haven't played this match yet, but I kind of anticipate this card is just going to run away with this match. We're going to find out. Okay, yep, that's good. That's good, don't get me wrong. Especially if our opponent has another... Okay, well, this is not going to be easy, that's for sure. That's about the nut draw, because that is not a flyer as well, so my Harpooners don't even kill it. Our opponent's just banking on me not being able to kill it, and they are right. But we can gain all that life back and start getting in there. Alright. Yeah, and that was a little bit of a mistake there. I should have did that first, in case I drew Memorial as well. Should have played that first and then played this tap land, so that's a minor mistake. You always got to think what lands you could explore into, and if you have tap lands, always play it first, because that's a turn where I was not going to utilize that third land. 17. Okay, draws a couple cards, goes to discard. That's interesting. Likely holding up some tricky stuff. Not super happy about Path of Discovery because it's very unlikely to live. But I still think we're going to play it. Get on in there first. I mean, this is just almost for sure getting countered, but yeah, the upside's pretty high. You know, on paper, this card doesn't look very good, so maybe our opponent's just like, yeah, sure. So now our opponent could let that resolve and then just counter all the creatures. It's a decent mentality to have. But if our opponent lets that go, then we would just be going nuts. Setting up for a fine finality turn, maybe a couple of them. Kind of hoping our opponent dumps creatures on the board here at some point. But we kind of don't want it to happen this turn, because then next turn we're obviously not finality. Yep, that card's fine. Alright, that card is not a great draw for us. We're going to take those out. Alright, explored, gain some life. We're going to get on in there. Then we're going to cast Finality for 2 turns in a row and hope it works out. This card is just so good against, like, Jeskai. Locking down all their Planeswalkers. Great against Golgari, too. The Immortal Sun is very good. Alright, we're going to play this Overgrown Tomb tapped. And then we're going to say go. Yeah, and, you know, what I mentioned earlier is kind of happening now. Like, our opponent has drawn a lot of cards, way more cards than us, but this card has been doing some work, and we haven't even had a very good draw. Made ours an 0-1. Now our opponent is gaining a huge mana, like getting enough mana where it becomes quite scary, because now very likely our opponent's leaving open a counter spell here. And then we're probably just dead. That's not bad. Yeah, I think we're just going to start by attacking. And we kind of want our opponent to block here, because now we're going to get some creatures in the yard. We could go for a Finality, but we just know it's not going to work. So instead we're going to go for a Wild Growth Walker, probably getting countered, maybe not. We're going to try to do some exploring. This might be getting countered, and then we're going to get back a couple Branch Walkers, and hope that's enough. Find Finality. Yeah, we definitely don't want this. It's really hoping for a creature. Here we're just going to find. It's not a great use of it, but we get 1 creature back. Something to do next turn. Alright. Our opponent's at 7. We're racing. We have lethal on board. See, our opponent could have played that Trickster in response to the Wild Growth, or in response to the Branch Walker, and prevented us from getting a counter and gaining life. I think that was a mistake on their part. Alright, down to 10. We will not block. And if our opponent ever gives us that window where they play too many creatures, Finality's coming. Finality will be our opponent's Finality. Come on, play way more creatures. 1 more. Ah, that's too bad. Ooh, we don't have the white. Now we're faced with a dilemma. To go for the Finality and almost assuredly it not work. But now we can't really attack through, which is just as bad. We could go for the Immortal Sun, but we're dead if we do that, so that I don't recommend. Okay, so our options are Branch Walker, go to 13, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Our opponent could likely find a 13th life. Or go for Finality and hope our opponent doesn't have another Wizard's Retort. And then we win the game. Like, it's high risk, high reward, but, like, just a Branch Walker. Like, if we could go Branch Walker and Knight of Autumn, that buys us enough time. But we're hoping that we Branch Walker into an untapped white source and then Knight of Autumn. And I just don't think that's a very successful line right here. So I don't like it. Three, four, five. I think we have to go for it. Yeah, we're gonna go for it. Finality is more than likely going to be our finality. Oh, God. We lose. Spell Pierce got us. Got us good. Okay, cards we don't want, for sure that. Probably one of these. All we need is one to resolve, and it's not going to die. Path of Discovery is fine. Night of Autumn is unreal good. Kniping down Curious Obsessions is great. Settle is good. Harpooners are sweet. We're on the play, so I like Path of Discovery. March of the Multitude is not that good. I think our cut has to be either Path of Discovery or March of the Multitude. Or Ixalan's Binding. I can see a world where that's not that great. On the play, I like Path. On the draw, I think I like March. But there's a world where I just don't want any marches. And I want to bring in Deathgorge Scavengers as well. Just another way to gain life and present a clock. We're going to try that over this. We're still going to keep the Path of Discovery because it's still busted with this. We'll go 3 and 1 though. Because this card can still just be busted as well. And they work very well together. I would like to go first. Sound seems fine. We are going to keep. We're going to start with the Temple Garden tapped. Doesn't matter too much between Overgrown and Temple Garden, to be honest. So we're going to play this next turn no matter what. Uh-oh. Here we go again. Alright, Cemetery. Let's do some exploring. Obviously not our ideal creature we'd want to be playing. Now, we really just want anything to do next turn. Taking a turn off is never great. Don't do it to me again. Okay, just one is manageable. Harpooner. Oh, wait, no. Not flying. Wait, does this give it flying? No. Okay. Ah! I'll play this. Take no damage. Might have to Ixalan's Binding next turn. I wouldn't like it, but... taking care of that card would be a big deal. Or if our opponent goes Tempest here. Oof. Yeah, now I think we have to go for the Binding. And it's likely to work. So our opponent doesn't have a Pirate, so Wizard's Retort is not live. Our opponent could have Spell Pierce, of course, but that's a card you usually take out, but I could be wrong. It's one Curious Herald. Alright, don't love that. That would have been a good top deck if this was a Wild Growth Walker. Alright, let's hope this works. Otherwise, we are probably dead. One time? Don't have one of your 10 outs or 15 outs? No! Syncopate? Who plays Syncopate? God, it's good. Lame. Yeah, we're probably dead now. And we can play Tristani. Hope that our lifelinker creatures can get us back in. I think it's going to be our only out unless we draw something great. Yeah, we just got to go for Tristani here. I don't like our chances, but... No! We're dead. Top deck fine Finality and our opponent doesn't have an answer? Seems like we're doing great. Uh-oh. I thought this matchup wouldn't be bad, but it has not even been close. We just have been destroyed. When your opponent draws 4 cards a turn, it usually gets the job done. Our opponent has the answer on board to it. We lose. All right, stick around for round 2. We'll see if we can do a little better than that. Round 2 action coming at you. Let's see if we can have a little better luck. No, we can't, apparently. This hand is horrendous. Not even remotely close to a keeper. But if these 2 marches were 2 lands, this hand would be great. We're going to mulligan. We can keep this, I suppose. Find Finality. It's close because this card is good. I'm going to put it on the bottom for now, though. Looking for a Wild Growth Walker. That card's not bad. We're going to get Overgrown Tumen. Alright. What are we up against here? Maybe Golgari? Oh, no. Second land? Our opponent kept a 1-lander. Bold. Very bold. Path of Discovery is exactly what we wanted here. We're going to drop the Harpooner, just get some damage in. Might not be the greatest of games if our opponent misses another land drop. Might just be a beating. Okay, good game 1. Good game 1. We're up against Forest. What would our opponent keep a 1-lander for if they didn't have, like, you know, an accelerant on 2? My guess would be Golgari here. And if that's the case, Immortal Sun is great. I don't like March that much against him. It's not ideal. Knight of Autumn is pretty bad. Harpooner is pretty bad. Carnage Tyrants are very good against that deck, but we don't want a huge number of them. On the draw, I don't mind Duress sometimes. But we do want an answer for Carnage Tyrant, so we're going to bring in Settles. Can be a very tricky card against him. And Carnage Tyrant, oddly enough, not many people would think, like, Carnage Tyrant is a card for green mirrors. But, that, I mean, they're great against control, but they're also great in these green mirrors. Just making Carnage Tyrant just that much more of a main deckable card. Looking forward to this weekend at GP New Jersey. I would not be the least bit surprised to see a bunch of Carnage Tyrants in the main deck. Alright, so we're on the draw now. Up against what we're guessing is Golgari, but it really could be anything. Ooh. This hand is not very good. Path of Discovery is something you don't want a 2 of, or you don't want a second copy of. So I think and we don't have black. I think we're going to ship this back. It's a little too loose. It's close, though. This one is much better. All right. Forest. Could be mono green as well, and our opponent just kept a really loose one. That could be a tricky one later. That's Settle. Alright, let's see if our opponent's got a second land. Woo! White. Interesting, interesting. We're just going to play this Overgrown Tomb tapped. We're not going to be doing much here for a while. But Path of Discovery into Tristani is pretty nice. You get to see a lot of cards. Stuff gets pretty big. Ooh, all kinds of craziness here. A Naya Dinosaurs. Okay, okay. Interesting. Gonna play the plains here. Gives us the option if we top deck a plains to settle next turn. Unlikely we'll want to do that unless our opponent goes like something like Monstosaur. That would be bad. We're not doing much here, so our draw is quite bad. No targets for the Scavenger on the bright side. Can't have targets when you don't play nothing. Okay, what do we got here? Branch Walker, sure. I have a feeling at some point this settle is going to be a blowout. Can play an additional land. Did not have it. Ixalan's Binding. I think we just want to get the path down. And then get a very nice Tristani next turn. Or hold up for settle. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very likely to have the City's Blessing and be able to attack next turn. Which is hitting us for quite a lot. But we need to find a second white source still. Tristani plus the tokens is going to be one way to get us there. And there was a world where we could Ixalan's Binding this, but I think there's going to be scarier stuff to come. Like that. Oh boy. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Well, got no choice here but to play Tristani and look for a white source. Do some exploring. Okay, Tristani will explore. Bind Finality is a pretty good one. It doesn't kill everything, though, which is a problem. Our opponent is going to very much think something is up if we bin this. I don't think we can. Keeping this at a 2-5, we can make it bigger with Finality. And then it would just be Sword Tooth versus this. I don't think that's good enough. We're going to put it in the graveyard. We need that white source. That's definitely not good enough. White source. That's also not good enough. At least we could do something like Ixalan's Binding if we get there. I think there's plenty of draws that just kill us, and that's probably one of them. We block here, we block there, we block there. That soaks up the most. We take 9, 10, 11, 12, but gain 5. We take 7. We're dead. Okay, that didn't work out great. Knowing what we know now, Carnage Tyrant is not good. Also, the Immortal Sun is not very good. Dinosaurs. Well, Knight of Autumn is still not good. Harpooner is still not good. So we'll keep Immortal Sun because it's still a very powerful effect. And maybe just Harpooner is here. Just Just another 2-drop. No, I'm not crazy about it. I think we'll do a couple Knights. They're very versatile, and our opponent could easily have some Ixalan's Binding type cards. We would like to go first. Ick. We're going to mulligan. We have not been drawing well with this deck today, that's for sure. I'm going to keep this, but it definitely has problems. If we top deck a Forest, you know, or untapped Duel, or an Overgrown Tomb or a Temple Garden or something, we should be fine. But we've yet to really go off with Wild Growth Walker yet. Alright, we're going to keep this, do a little scrying. It's greedy to put it on the bottom, but yeah, we're going to keep it. It's not great. We're going to not be playing anything until turn 3, but it's consistent at least. At least we're getting to play this and into this and hope it's enough even though it's a turn late. Alright, next turn Wild Growth Walker into Jade Light. And hopefully by then we found enough untap land where we can just go Binding the next turn. Alright, that's not bad. Go Wild Growth Walker and then a land that that has to come into play tapped. Don't have a Lightning Strike, please. Hooray! Alright, what do we got? Okay. Playing an additional land, ramping, that's a great card. Well, we got no choice but to get our Jade Light on. Explore. So 2 Explorers, and now we're given the choice of keeping a Merfolk Branchwalker. I don't love it, and I don't hate it. But I think we should get rid of it. Yeah, we're going to get rid of it. Trigger, gain 6, 2 counters. Play a Memorial, and we'll get on in there with the Walker. Since our opponent cannot block with this. Now we have Ixalan's Binding next turn for, you know, maybe Regisaur Alpha would be a really good target. Maybe even just this. You know, I don't think this is necessarily a bad target by any means. Couple Dinosaur lands. What do we got for 6 mana? Carnage Tyrant would be very bad. Well, we could just block it, but yeah, it wouldn't be great. Ripjaw Raptor's pretty good. Drew it anyway. Kind of just want to Binding this Raptor. 4, 5, 6, 7. Then our opponent only has 7 permanents. And we can attack. I like it. Ixalan's Binding. If our opponent does have a naturalized type effect, we are going to get blown out here. Our opponent will be able to kill a Jade Light Ranger, draw a card. But I just think we can't risk it, and I don't really know. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, that's okay. Slash and Talons. Even keeping the Ixalan flavor of having the Slash and Talons instead of the new one, the Righteous Blow. Love it. Yep. Is that an Ascension? 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. Nope. 1 card away. Is that card a permanent? Nope. Okay, that's good. We're going to start with Tristani here. Get a bunch of creatures into play. Attack for 4. Now we could just have a huge march next turn. Our opponent likely to just have to play defense with their 5/5s. Alright, City's Blessing. Those 5/5s are online. Card's good. I think that card's going to see a lot more play in this new standard than it has in the past. What do we got here? Thank God for Tristani. Well, yep, this is going to be a perfect March turn. Ooh, maybe not. I think we're splitting hairs which one we play first, but we might as well get this down first. Start drawing extra cards, stuff gets cheaper. We'll play the long game here. We could just go March, but then we can't really attack through. With the Immortal Sun, we're going to gain so much huge advantage over such a over gradual amount of time. This card's great. I love the Immortal Sun. So many powerful things. When it does 4 relevant things, that's just so good. All right. What you got? 5/7 Wild Growth Walker. Come at me. It's a good one. It's a good one. I can still just do some damage to our opponent in combat, though, so we'll see what they want to do. Yep, didn't make sense to an attack to me. All right, draw an extra card. Now we're just going to go off. All right, these only cost 1, so we'll cast a Branch Walker. Find Finality. I mean, I don't think there's a way that we would get rid of that, keeping that on top. Going to get us back Tristani and a Jade Light Ranger. Obviously, we're not going to cast Finality. It does absolutely nothing. Doesn't kill our opponent's creatures and only kills ours. But I think just this March is going to be lethal enough here. Our Branch Walkers actually aren't even costing us anything from March because it only costs 1 and it's 1 permanent for Convoke, so that's kind of fun. We'll keep this on top again. Gain some more life. Alright, and then we'll let our opponent think that they're in the game until we cast this. This may have not started out as the greatest game since our opponent just kind of did nothing on turn 1, but it's turned around into showcasing our deck off quite decently. AKA how bad it could be like last game and how insane it can be like this game. Just so many powerful cards. And now we get to cast Tristani next turn as well. Our creatures are going to be big. This costs 1 less as well, so we get an extra token. Just for 8. 8 2/2s, please. 16 power. 1 card. It's going to be 24 power with Tristani next turn. All right, Dino Baums. Stay tuned for our last round. All right, welcome to our 3rd and final round here. We won the die roll. Very important. This hand's not great. It's definitely 1 more land than we'd want, but we have a good 3 and a 4-drop that like really finds us stuff. So I am going to keep this. On the draw, I would mulligan. But on the play, land-heavy hands are generally better. And this deck is really no exception to that. I'm going to play this tapped. Probably should have played Temple Garden there just because it's a for sure white source. Unlikely to matter, but... Yep, we'll play this. Yeah, all we really need is like one or two, either a March or a Tristani, and we get to see so many cards. All right, we got a Forest from our opponent. Sun Petal Grove. Okay. Ooh. Hello. Think we're going to play that. Do some exploring. We'd get to explore 3 times if Path of Discovery was in play. Harpooner. It's not a great card right now. Not good against a first striker. Pretty unlikely to have flyers, so we're going to put this in the graveyard. We got better. Speak of the devil. Now we have such a great turn 4 into turn 5 play. And this can block Knight. I like our chances so far. What you got? What you got? History of Benalia, maybe? Boogler. Moogly Boogler. No cards. That's a miss. Ruh-roh. Alright. We found our path to victory. And it all begins with discovering things. Alright, we're gonna say go. I mean, we're definitely afraid of Knight of Autumn, and I mean, it's definitely in the realm of the deck. Plus, it triggers off Boogler, so this... If we get Knight of Autumn here, this is a card we're for sure going to have to take out. You just can't commit a 4-mana do-nothing spell when your opponent has a bunch of Reclamation Sages in their deck, you know? For those of you who don't remember Rec Sage, you know, it does the exact same thing as this, except it costs 1 green, 2 colorless to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Knight of Autumn, of course, is better because you have the other 2 options, which are both relevant. What do we got here? Ooh... That's not terrible because we have the Knight of Autumn. Okay. We get to do some good stuff here. Wait, green. All right, we're gonna cast Knight of Autumn. We really want to cast Tristani when we have the path out. Destroy this. We're gonna take 2. Play a Branch Walker that now explores like a Jade Light Ranger. 1 land. Jade Light Ranger. I think we can keep this. It's not the greatest Magic card I've ever seen, but we're fine with it. And now playing Tristani next turn means we can attack with Jade Light, because it would kill both of these creatures if they blocked. Now our opponent's starting to be put in a weird spot where they have to deal with the Path of Discovery or just lose the game. And then we get to just start attacking. But, yep, that's obviously great for them. These cards will be coming out, even though they're the true heart and soul of the deck, and they're so much fun to play. Yeah, they're just not that great. Same with the Immortal Sun. Anything that has Knights, we just can't have that expensive of stuff in. So instead, we'll just play a Tristani. And we're going to get in there. I'm going to get in there with a few things. I like both of these. We don't care too much that Branch Walker is only going to trade with a Knight of Grace, because that's what it would do already. And if our opponent kills this, then Branch Walker becomes invalidated. Alright, take a 9. Play a Temple Garden, and we'll say go. Now, really, what happens late in these games, the only card we're looking for is Finality. It's almost always your best card. March would still be good. Plenty of stuff that would still be passable, but that would be more than likely the ideal card. 6 mana. A lot of things that can be done. Alright, our opponent's own Tristani. Makes things a lot more scary. Our opponent must have a Conclave Tribunal, because it is waiting for our opponent to cast a spell, unless they have Prey Upon or something. That's the only thing that makes sense. Tribunals, once again, not that great against us either because we have these. Yeah, I guess our opponent could have a Loxodon as well. Boogler is pretty good with Knight of Autumn and Tristani here. We don't have very good attacks next turn. Unless we get like a fine Finality, but likely our Tristani is gone now. Yeah, that's a risky play. If we have more Knight of Autumns, we're really going to punish our opponent. But a fine Finality, we get to strap this Jade Light Ranger to be gigantic and nuke our opponent's board. Alright, so we could trade all three of our creatures for that. I don't like it. If we had fine Finality, we would just block with the soldiers and gain some life, but not the case. It's not good. Cast Jade Light. And we're not under an insane amount of pressure yet. That card is good, but is it good enough? And we're going to cast it for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Can't really be wrong to not have 11 power. Yeah, I can't find it in me to put that into the graveyard, even though fine Finality would be a little better. No attacks from us. Might be a good old Celestia token stalemate here. Alright, now we got a big March turn next turn, but still doesn't do a bunch. Like, it's not going to allow us to attack through, but it'll definitely gum up the board until we find, like, a fine Finality. Our opponent likely to want to make some attacks to make it so we can't create as many tokens. Ooh, definitely looking to make some attacks. We don't super care about that. The only thing we're for sure going to want to do is kill Tristani here, since given the option. So 3 power, we want to just try to not get 2 for 1 here. Alright, we're going to block this to this, because we kind of want this to die in case we find fine Finality. We'll block here. I don't want to block with this Jade Light, or one of the Jade Lights, because that's the only creature that would survive. 4, 5, 6. Kind of like this. This has us taking 5, 9, 13, but gaining 2. So taking 11, putting us to 4. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. And we got the March next turn. We get to get rid of a Tristani, but there is a high chance that that last card in our opponent's hand is Tristani, and kind of wanted that to happen. Now I can see attacking for 4. Let's get in a chip shot here. 5, 6, 7 tokens I would be making. Yeah, we'll just say go. Make 8 tokens. Your turn. Pretty high chance that our opponent just goes Tristani go. Maybe that's a reason we shouldn't have killed the last one, but I don't know. I think still when given the option, you should always try to kill that card. Well, pushing the damage. Yeah, I think we're just gonna march and make some giant mass block on one of the creatures so that we end up making or gaining life on this exchange. All right, done for 8. I kind of just like blocking 8 tokens to the Boogler here. Then we don't lose a bunch, and we still gain all this life. So we gain 8, take 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're gaining 1 on this attack and losing 3 of our tokens. If our opponent has some way to remove the Boogler, we would lose, or just give this creature +1/+1 actually. So Might of the Masses would have got us if that's a card. Alright, now what we got? Wild Growth Walker. I don't see a reason to play that now. So we're just going to say go. Our board is pretty even right now. So I would definitely favor our opponent since we're at a much lower life. And if our opponent top decks a March, we're likely just dead. Would be a tough one to live through. Although these lifelink token battles get to be quite tough. When our opponent has cards like Flower and stuff where we don't, can really give our opponent's creatures a boost. Okay. I think we're going to go like this. And I kind of just want to take down as many tokens as possible. 2, 3. Kind of like this. I also kind of like putting 6 tokens in front of Knight of Grace. I like that way worse. Yeah, we'll go like this. Once again, dead to a pump spell, but I don't think Celestia deck plays any of those. So now we're gaining 7 up to 9, losing a bunch. Okay, now we really want that finality. It's not bad. It's not bad. For sure gonna play this. Opponent does have a flyer now though, so we can't just sit around forever. Alright. Tristani. Now, actually, I think we're going to get in there. Attack for 5. Our opponent can just block Vanguard and make it indestructible to save a life. Yep, that'd be smart. Opponent could put Remorseful. Oh, just lets it go. Interesting. Doesn't seem right. Okay, then we're going to play this just in case. All right, we are remorseful. And we want to be able to get through, but now especially with that, we can't even attack now. Ixalan's Binding. Interesting. It's great targets. I honestly don't know what I want to hit. Our opponent is hellbent, so we have perfect information. Opponent's not low on life, though, so we could take a Knight of Grace and attack with everything. Our opponent would go block, take 4. Yeah, then our opponent can crack back for a good chunk. I don't like that. Could go attack with everything. Our opponent would likely double block Tristani and a token and take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Put our opponent to 20, and then we could Ixalan's Binding the Conclave Tribunal and get back a Tristani. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. This first strikers getting in the way of our soldiers is really what's messing with us right now. Or just this flyer. I mean, we stop this, then we're not going to die. Seems like the play. Not happy about it, but it's the safest play. Buys us more time. Our opponent can make us remorseful here. Exile all our creatures. Not that we really care too much about it, because we definitely want to cast Finality and not Find right now. Yep, can attack. Ixalan's Binding, not binding anything down as well is less cool, but that's okay. Now we're likely to do some staring at each other for a while. Okay. Ixalan's Binding again is interesting. That is a good one. Now I kind of like attacking with everybody then, because if our opponent does go to kill Tristani, which would be ideal, we would get to conclave it back. Yeah, we're gonna do it and see what happens here. We don't want to give our opponent forever as well. Our opponent gets to eat some free creatures if they do so choose. Smart. These are the blocks I was more afraid of. Now I think we just kind of have to binding this just to for sure stay alive. Not super great, but binding this and getting back our other Tristani means that Finality does get us back a Tristani from the graveyard because of Legend Rule now. Alright. Almost got our opponent to 20. Knights of Graces have been quite annoying, but we have so many just slam dunk top decks here in our deck. Ixalan's Binding the Conclave is pretty nice too, because our opponent can't conclave the Ixalan's Binding back. Ixalan's Binding may cost the mana, the full 4 mana, but it definitely has its benefits. Something. Well, now we're kind of in trouble here as well. Could have held the Binding, I guess, to wait for this kind of flyer. If we attack with everything, we're only gaining 2 life again. And our opponent will be taking 6, 7, 8. It's not good. I really don't think we can attack into these first strikers. Looks like we are on a 3-turn clock here, forcing ourselves to find one of these fine finalities. Or even a harpooner would be decent. At least it would kill it. Any explorer buys us a turn each time. So we have so many outs to make sure we don't die to this. But land will not get it done. And we have one attack phase here where we can put ourselves up a little bit extra life. Now if we attack in... Yep. We'll do that next turn if we don't top deck anything. I guess we're dead to flourish now. Very likelihood that our opponent could have that too. So maybe that was a loose play. Maybe we had to attack with these to give ourselves one more draw. There's a flourish, yep. Well, if the top card's Finality, then I'm going to feel quite bad. Let's check it out. Another land, didn't matter. And a path. Alright. Green, white. Definitely want all our Knights of Autumn. Settles pretty good. We don't want any of our artifacts or enchantments. We'll just shut down their Knight of Autumns. And then I think we'll want something that can close out the game. On the draw, I think we're going to bring in Duress. But on the play, I think we want Carnage Tyrants. I like it. I like the Harpooner still for that card. Our deck is kind of soft to flying, so it is something that helps out. We'll do this and we'll give it a shot. I think there is a world where we could take out Ixalan's Binding as well. Yeah, actually, I think that is still a bad card. Just go all in on Carnage Tyrants. Okay. We are now a value Carnage Tyrant Fine Finality deck. It's kind of what we have to do against them. Too much artifact and enchantment destruction where we get kind of blown out. Now we're really making their Knight of Autumns just as bad as possible. It's actually a bad card now against us. And then when our opponent sees that we have no enchantments and takes them out for game 3, we'll bring at least the bindings back in. These are still bad on the draw. Alright, Celestia tokens, you're going down. Now, we didn't see a fine finality at all in a good majority of the deck. Or a Wild Growth Walker where we actually explored. That would have been decent. Alright. We're going to goof around and have one Duress here. I think 4 Carnage Tyrants is a little aggressive. I'm going to... I think the same with Tristani, actually. So we're going to go down to 3 and 3 and have Duresses. Our opponent could very likely bring in Settle. And if our opponent has an obvious Settle turn or an obvious March turn, we have a little answer for that then. Mainly, I'm bringing this in for Settle. Okay, yes, I would like to go first. Yep, this is fine. We need to draw 1 land for Jade, but we don't even have to draw it on time. Going Walker into Jade Light is completely fine. That's going to make some gigantic wild growth walkers. Landing. That's not going to be attacking. Woo! Alright, we're just going to be wild growthing and like there's no tomorrow. These are also good against Lyras too, in case our opponent brings those in. Now we'd like to top deck a land, but if we don't, it's not the worst to just go another wild growth. But even if we top deck a land, this is still going to be our play. We want to maximize the use of our creatures as much as possible, and that means playing this last. Alright, opponent's deep in the tank. We did have one crazy long game 1. Both our clocks are pretty low. Knight of Grace is a good Magic card. Alright. Carnage Tyrant is probably the last card we wanted to draw, but that's okay. Well, that'll happen with 6 drops. They're not always good, but sometimes they are your best card. Okay. Flower Power! Alright, now next turn if we drew a land, it would be questionable. Maybe we would cast Jade Light just to for sure hit our land drops, but still probably not. Alright, double Flower Power. Well, not even a decision when you just draw on Carnage Tyrants. Now, next turn, when we draw our untapped forest, we are for sure playing Jade Light. And it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triggers to gain 18 life and get +6, +6. That'll be good if we could ever get there. Now, that card would pale in comparison to Wild Growth Walkers. There we go. Let's do some crazy stuff. Jade Light. We don't even care what we explore into. We just need land. So we don't want that. Another Explorer creature is good, but yeah, we don't want that either. Swinks. Still can't attack into this 4/4 though. And we didn't get any land, which is very bad luck. Could have kept that Branch Walker for that reason, to just explore one more time, but I'd rather try to find land. Tristani. Okay. Just gonna play this game nice and slow. Not a bad card. Not a good one. I don't even know if we want to cast anything right now. The likelihood that our opponent left in that flyer I think is pretty low. But the likelihood our opponent has a Shalai or a Lyra is a lot higher. So we're just going to say go. We might march for 4 at end step, but... Our Carnage Tyrants look very weak right now. Like, they look very bad. Maybe there was a world where we were just supposed to keep our enchantments in, even though they're bad against Knight of Autumn, because these do not look good. Of course, they would be better played a little earlier. Johnny's a good one. We were completely content just holding back and not doing much, but Johnny forces the action a lot more. With that, our hand is quite bad right now. Like we got cool synergies and stuff, but we're not doing what we should be doing. think we are still going to march. It's for 4. So it's not terrible, but it's not super great. Alright, got some extra creatures. Can't really get through to that Ajani, unfortunately. Just gonna play the Harpooner. Just pass it back. Now we're just looking to get to Finality before our opponent can emblem here. This might just be a game where we, even through an emblem, just do absolutely nothing until we get to a Finality. Even the emblem isn't very good when we have so many sweepers. We just need to draw them. We do have access to 5 sweepers right now. There's one of them. This is forcing our opponent to attack, though, which isn't going to be very likely for a while. Our opponent could march us, though. At some point in the game, our opponent has to start attacking. Whoa. It's a big creature. 10/10 can't be targeted. Yeah, next turn could very well likely be the turn. Well, card's not terrible. Could destroy this or destroy this. I don't like gaining life. I don't know if I really like anything right now. Yep, I'm just going to hold up settle. We're in for the long haul. Our opponent can emblem a Johnny, but there's just absolutely nothing we can do about it. Pretty sad exploring and keeping a 2-lander and it being turn 9 and we still only have drawn 2 land. Uh-oh. Well, with the flourish, very likely our opponent just goes for it. Oh. Boom. And now you want to give yourself every chance to for your opponent to make a mistake here. So, you know, just making blocks and then waiting for maybe your opponent to use a pump spell, something along that lines. There we go. Just line up kind of some pointless blocks. Our opponent is in for a rude awakening here. See if our opponent has any responses. Nope. Okay, settle. Settled. Now we just might have lethal on the crackback. What a weird game. Our opponent can emblem a Johnny and get cats every turn, though. Get 6 power worth of cats. So we'd really want to top deck here to be able to pump our 1/1s to the same power as our opponent's 1/1, so we can just attack with everything and not think about it. Our opponent gets every land out of their deck, I imagine. But otherwise, that settle is still not going to be enough to beat an Ajani emblem. Okay. Okay, 2/2 cats. Ah, I knew that to be untapped. Now we can attack with... God, almost nothing again. If we attack with these, our opponent can kill one of them. Kind of like that. It's for sure not great. And we're not really beating this cat army without another fine finality anyways. Ugh. These Carnage Tyrants have just looked so very bad. Obviously, Ajani emblems changed the game quite a bit. But yeah, if we could have got Tristani down here, attack with everything really puts us in a position where we could still race this emblem. We're going to try anyways. Our opponent should throw that cat in front of Jade Light as well, just because it's an extra 2 life for him. I think we're going to make this a 4/3. That doesn't matter too much. We just got to hope our opponent's out of gas and that somehow these collection of cards is enough. Tristani next turn is definitely going to help, don't get me wrong. But if our opponent has like a march after getting every land out of their deck, we would be in trouble. Our opponent gets to make 4 2/2 lifelinkers every turn, thanks to the Adanto's land as well. But if we do top deck, or no, we have the land. So no matter what, we're going Tristani. Don't think about it, attack with everything. Well, that seems silly. Unless our opponent is going for a Wrath of God, which would be very good. Alright. What a game. Now we're going to need a fine finality again. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're only 1/1s now, so that helps a little bit. Ruh-roh. I guess we place Tristani. We are in trouble. We've been in trouble for a long time. Ever since we boarded these in, we've been in trouble. I cannot get over enough what a mistake it was to board these in. They just are so bad. I wish there was a way to interact with emblems at all. Alright, getting on in there. It's okay. We're just going to take 4. Our opponent's going to gain life and go infinite. All we're going to try to do is try to attack Johnny, which we're not going to do very successfully. Wild Growth Walker, just what we needed. Yeah, we'll just cast Carnage Tyrant. Gonna be looking for Find Finality. Just to make a creature, I imagine, there. But that'd be another reason that, like, Immortal Sun instead of this would have just been terrible, you know? So, I mean, I guess it's better than that. We just don't have cards that line up super well against this. Ugh. We kind of need it now? Well, I guess we cast another Carnage Tyrant. And say go. We're on the defensive. Guess we'll wait for another settle or another Find Finality. Our opponent can go double emblem now. It will not take long for our opponent to gain a giant board. But Find Finality would leave us with 2 Carnage Tyrants and a Tristani. It's not nothing. Got another emblem coming. I would actually kind of hope our opponent emblems, because the worst thing that would be for us, and what I would do if I was in my opponent's position, I would tick up to 8, putting this out of Find Finality range, and then embleming next turn. That seems like the ideal play. We only have 5 blockers, and our opponent has a bunch of creatures that can attack this turn. Our opponent chose to pump. Whoa. Uh-oh. Oh no! Oh, we might just be dead. If we block here and here, that maximizes damage. We take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't see why not. Looks like we just have to top deck it next turn. Boom. That's not it. Well, I guess we can play this. If we do this into this, then we're for sure telling our opponent we don't have settle. Pretty safe our opponent goes for it anyways. Whatever. We'll play what we think might not have us dead. Not doing the math yet. Explore once. Get that out of there. That's not gonna do it for us. Can our opponent do 28? Probably. We have to block 3. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we'll have a turn. Alright, so we'll eat up a soldier. And then go for 2 2s. Yeah, maybe we can block a 1/1 with this. Alright, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 we're taking. Why not? Our opponent's just at 63, no big deal. There's a second emblem. Now even if we get Finality, like, I think we're just dead on the spot anyways. Uh-oh. Well, can get that back. How we can activate this as well. Well, we'll see. Destroy this enchantment. Get Tristani back. I don't think we're going to have another turn. That looks like way too much here, and we're only gaining 4. So 18. We'll let the math figure it out here. Well, that's a knight as well. Interesting. Oh, God. Well, maybe we would have lived if it wasn't for that, but that'll definitely be the nail in the coffin. Okay. This is all fine. This is all going well. So 6-5, okay. We'll block here. Block here. We'll block here. We'll block here. I think that's the most damage we can soak up. We're gaining 4 to 18. There's 9 of these. That's 18. Oh, yeah. We did. We're dead by a lot. Yeah, well, you know what? You can't win them all. And we kind of got crushed with this deck this time around. I feel like, you know, if we have we're 30 cards deep, if we could have drawn Finality like ever in our 2 games, I think, you know, we would have had a chance. Even if we would have played that untap land to play Tristani on time when we could have attacked, I think that could have went better. But, yeah, it didn't work out that way. And, yeah, well, we're going to have to try this one again sometime in the future. I want to thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the deck tech. And welcome to the deck tech. Well, we may have got a little destroyed in this these 3 matches here. I do think the deck has a lot more promise than it was really made apparent. You know, there were plenty of turns where if we would have drawn a different card or we mulliganed a lot. It is a high variance deck because, as you can see, like, this is a lot of cards that cost essentially 5 or more, or do cost 5 or more, or 4 or more, you know? So you really need these early cards. They're very important to draw, but once you draw them and then can just start dropping bombs late game, the deck becomes very, very, very good. So we'll get with the mana base. Pretty stock when it comes to having to play almost all the duels. We're only playing 3 tombs, excuse me, and then we're playing just a 4 of all the other green and white and black dual lands. 4 memorials because this card can just get nuts with Path of Discovery and Wild Walker, or Wild Growth Walker. And then we move on to the 2-drops. We got 4 Branch Walkers, 4 Wild Growth Walker, and this is the hallmark card of the deck. You know, you want this on turn 2. It absolutely destroys mono red if you can get this down, and this deck has the resiliency against control to get there. And that's really what drew me to a shell like this. Knight of Autumn, we got access to 4 of them. Just a phenomenal card right now. Great against any white deck because it can take out their Ixalan's Bindings or Tribunals. Can gain you life when you're in a pinch. And at worst, it's just a 3-mana 4/3. The card is great. 4 Jade Light Rangers, your best Explorer card. And going Wild Growth Walker into this, gain 6. You know, you can make possibly +4/+4. You know, it just does some busted things. Path of Discovery is the card that I've been trying out, and there's certain spots where it's been great, certain spots where it's terrible. Path of Discovery into Tristani, especially when you have a Wild Growth Walker out, is just insane. You know, you're still going to gain that 9 life. You're going to get to look at 3 cards. You're going to get to put lands. I mean, it just gets silly. The Immortal Sun is one card that I don't think is getting a lot of credit right now, but just shutting down Planeswalkers by itself, plus all the other abilities of text, is just so good. If there's not a lot of ways to deal with artifacts in the matchup, this card is an all-star and a must counter or must deal with threat. Find Finality is really the only reason to be black. We have some duresses, but they're not that important. Finality is just so good. Find is great in this deck too. This is really the only reason to try this shell versus Celestia tokens. Like, otherwise I would just want to be playing all the green-white synergizing cards, similar to what our opponent played last round, if it wasn't for this card. And I mean, as long as you watched the games, you knew if we would have drawn it, like, at any point, we were going to crush. Just didn't happen. And then March of the Multitudes, another great late-game spell. We got 4 Carnage Tyrants for control matches, and Golgari I think it's great in. We brought it in against Celestia tokens, and I regret doing that because it turned out very bad, even though we just didn't have a bunch to bring in for that match, so maybe that match just has to be fixed a little bit. But Celestia tokens is not the most popular deck, and I don't expect it a lot this coming weekend for GP New Jersey. Scavengers, great against these new blue-red Phoenix decks that are popping up. Just good against mono red where you can gain some life. Settle the Wreckage, just a phenomenal card. It's better than playing a Wrath of God because it doesn't kill our creatures. And we already have our Wrath of Gods for creatures. Remorseful Cleric, another card good at removing like the red Phoenix when that's starting to pressure us. And then Duress for control shells. I want to thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all at GP New Jersey where I get to defend my title. I'm playing a busted deck, and let's hope that I can go back to back. Come say hi. We'll see you next time.